Hey everybody, welcome to the shop here. My name is Ken Stouffer and this is Solano Speed Shop, and this is the material I'll be using for my guitar build for the 2023 version of the Great Guitar Build Off. So what is this thing? So this is actually a secretary or a writing desk, and this one was made by the John Bruner Company in San Francisco back in the what I'm guessing is the late 40s. It's been in my family since it was new. It was my grandmother's. And I have old pictures of it in the living room and actually her using it, and there's plenty of evidence, which I'll show in the video here as well, that it was used, and ink stains and things like that are part of its character. So, but it appears to be solid mahogany, and with the exception of the drawer liners, which I believe are going to be like a pine, probably a pine plywood, and early plywood. So that's what leads me to believe it's probably the very late 40s or early 1950s that this was actually manufactured. But my grandparents picked it up at the John Bruner showroom in San Francisco. It was built right across the bay over in Oakland, California, and really looking forward to seeing what I can get out of this. I have an idea in my head. I don't have any plans on paper. I don't work well with plans, so I'm going to just kind of I mean, it sounds like I'm going to wing it, but it's a little more than that. I have a really clear picture in my head of what this is going to be and what I'll be able to get out of this, but the idea is to repurpose as much of this wood as I possibly can. So this thing is going to be mahogany everywhere. I'll have a mahogany neck, that'll be a laminate neck, and mahogany body, and it may end up being a hollow body. I haven't quite decided that yet. I think that's the direction I'm going to go, and I'll take a couple of these flatter surfaces and mill them down into nice thin tops and bottoms, and probably band it, do a some kind of a trim with some maple or something else, just to give it a little bit of contrast. But so we'll see what comes of it. But my idea right now is a couple of P90s and quite possibly a hollow body. I'm just going to see what we get out of it. But this is where we're starting. So this is the secretary. As you guys can see here, it's still pretty complete. Even has the key, and all the key locks work. Pretty nice, and I'm excited to see what I can get out of it. So stick around with me, and you guys will see how I get it broken down. I have no idea how that process is going to go either. It could be an absolute disaster, but I'm going to do the best I can to kind of surgically remove pieces and keep things as tight as possible and as clean as possible, and not do too much to just break stuff up. So, because like I say, I really want to use as much wood out of this as possible, and quite frankly, I'd like to see if I can get a couple of guitars out of it, or a guitar and a bass, and we'll see what happens from there. So, all right, stick around, see how we get after it here. I think just got a couple of pins that are now holding this in. Might be able to take this whole shelf system out. If I can just get that. There's one last pin out here. I think I just need to get that. Let's see if I was right. Not too bad, huh? Yeah, well, there we go. Yep, that was easy enough. Screws holding on the bottom panel there. I just lifted right off, so there was some pins or nails that were holding the other shelves to the side here, the shelf supports to the side, so now these side panels should just pop right off. Should be able to just knock them off. That glue should shatter. So fairly clean. A couple places there, but I knew I wasn't going to be able to use the edge of these anyway, so I'm not too concerned about that. It'll still clean up to a nice edge, and I'll still get a couple of really good panels out of it. Just wanted to make sure I wasn't cracking along the top and the side, so I think that we're going to get lucky there. So there we go. Got this side done. I did this side first, which kind of informed my decision about trying to cut along that edge first, but you can see there. not too bad. So get the rest of these knocked and see if I can pull more of this away. All right, guys, and welcome back. So here's what we ended up with. This morning we started off with a secretary that was complete and standing on its own, and now we've got a pile of wood. So I'm really happy with how the disassembly went together. I did find that the glue just shattered in most places, so it was some kind of animal glue, I'm sure, or likely, excuse me, I'm not sure, but I think it's likely that it was probably some kind of an animal glue, but every time that I tapped on something, it shattered pretty nicely. Had a few places where the wood split out a little bit, but places that are inconsequential that I'm not going to be able to use anyway, around the ends of things, etc. Got a lot of really good, solid pieces out of this. The desk top here and the desk extension are really nice pieces of mahogany. The sides, with the dados that they cut for the shelf supports in the sides, I'm not quite sure exactly how I'm going to deal with that yet. I got $1. I'm thinking to myself that probably what I'm going to do is just take some strips of wood and glue them in, and then sandwich them together to make a body. So they're 3/4 of an inch, so I'll take that, sandwich them together, make myself an 1.5 inch thick body, and maybe add a top to that. You know, we'll have to see. I still haven't decided if I'm going to use some other material to put a top on these, or if they're going to be 100% the mahogany that came out of this. I think that the drawer sides and backs, though, I don't know if these are mahogany. They're considerably different, much more open grain. I think that they might actually be cherry. From what I understand about the John Bruner company and these secretaries in particular, from the research that I've done, is that they were largely made of mahogany and cherry. So I think that that's a real possibility of what this is for the drawer back inside, which is great. You know, it's good and strong, and they are mostly sliced together, but for the widths that I need, they're going to work out great. So I'll probably rip these lengths into some other usable pieces. One thing I was kind of bummed to find out about, though, unfortunately, is all the drawer fronts are veneer. So now they are solid mahogany, but what I didn't see and hadn't really seen before was that, I noticed that these were straight grain. I was like, well, that's interesting. There's not really any end grain here on the inside, and there's a reason for that, is they laminated the front and the back with a nice piece of mahogany, and then that was filled and stained. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with these yet. I did notice that they do stack up really nicely, like this. So I may actually end up laminating these together and making some kind of a block or doing something. I haven't figured it out yet, but I'll get it figured out. If I don't do that, then if these things end up being hollow bodies, well, I think these are the sides. And I think what I'll end up doing is just taking pie pieces out and bending it around and doing with it what I want. So basically cutting this down to about a 2-inch thickness or so, maybe 1 3/4 inches or so thickness, and then using them with the veneer still on the outside. The veneer is actually pretty thick. If I had to guess, I'd probably say it's a good millimeter thick on either side, and for those of you who prefer imperial, it's whatever that is, because I don't do that a lot. Anyway, so there you go. This is what we've got now, and got all this processed. I'll start working on it a bit more, cleaning it up, getting the existing stain off of it, getting it down to bare wood, and then seeing what I want to do with it. Like I say, I have a picture in my head for what I want this guitar to look like and feel like, and obviously the P90s are a choice. So I have an idea of what I want it to sound like as well, and I think the P90s that I'm thinking about are really well suited for a hollow body guitar. So I think that's the direction I'm probably going to end up going with this. But some kind of cool little offset, maybe something tele derivative or something. But I'll get that figured out, and as soon as I get there, I'll share with you guys what I'm working on. But next thing is to get this stuff cleaned up, get a neck together out of it. I think I'm actually going to use, I've got a really nice piece of a couple pieces left over of Purple Heart that I think I'm going to use for a couple of just strengthening ribs in the neck, and otherwise it'll have 2 carbon fiber rods as well as a good truss rod. So I'm not too concerned about it moving at all. And this wood, this wood was 90 years old when it was made into furniture, 90 years old since it's been made into furniture, and I suspect that it was plenty dry before that as well. So this stuff's not going to move. It's not going to do anything. I just need to make sure that I build it right. And I think I got enough pieces here to be able to get something really nice out of it. So looking forward to doing that, and then looking forward to seeing you guys on the next one. So I'll see you soon.